They don't care about us. All they want to do is stop people not paying the licence fee. And this is their best bet to do it. Hi, it's me again, and quite a few of you sent me this article to take a look at. And I bookmarked it, and I forgot about it. But now I found it, so let's have a look at it. It's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. Your house price will determine how much TV licence fee costs under radical new plans to overhaul BBC funding. So on council tax, or how's that going to work? Let's have a look before it really sets me off into anger, shall we? If the value of your home increases, so too will the cost of your TV licence. That's the radical new proposal from the BBC chairman, Samir Shah. Samir Shah. He was recently appointed chair at the BBC. The chair is chosen by the government, not by the BBC themselves. So that tells you a little bit about the chair before you even know who Samir Shah is. Samir Shah has worked in television for donkey's years. He joined London Weekend Television in 1979, and he's worked with the BBC over the years. He left because he wanted to work in the commercial world, so he knows a bit about advertising and selling shows, and probably product placement for that matter. Then he was a member of Parliament. Then he had his own production company, and then he's back and forth with the BBC. He's in bed with the BBC. He was a member of Parliament, so he's in bed with government. On the outskirts of things, working in the commercial world and working with the BBC and working with government, he does seem like the perfect person for the job, to be fair, on the outside. On the inside, he worked for the BBC and for the government, and he's trusted by both of them. Do you think he has our best interests at heart, or the government's and the BBC's best interests at heart? Under the scheme, the one-size-fits-all annual £174.50 price tag would be scrapped in favour of a progressive payment structure, where wealthier households pay more. Your TV licence will be collected at the same time as council tax, with rates linked to property bands. So it's not collected at the same time as council tax. It is now part of your council tax and linked to your property band. Which is interesting. Because you could live on your own, like I do, and in a small flat like I do, and probably end up paying less than 100. I doubt you would, but in theory. Or you could live on your own in a mansion and pay 10 times more than I pay. But then you've also got people on benefits who get council tax help and council tax exemptions, and old people aren't over 75s on pension credit. Don't they get council tax help? But they get a free one now anyway. This is what they want. They want it to be a tax that you can't avoid. They would prefer to put it on your income tax, because then anyone paying income tax would pay a licence fee, so they'd have a lot more payers of it. But they'll take it per household. So this is still done per household. Is this fair? How could you possibly opt out of this? Those are the questions. I don't want to pay it. And I want to, at the moment, if I don't watch anything as it's being recorded, I don't record anything that's being broadcasted, and I don't access BBC iPlayer, I don't need to pay for the TV licence legally. Will that exemption still be allowed under these rules? And who's going to police it? Is it still going to be TV licensing? Is it still going to be Capita sending goons out? Or is it going to be done by the local councils? Who knows? The BBC chairman floated the idea of linking the TV licence fee to the value of homes in an exclusive interview with the Sunday Times earlier this year. It's the first major intervention from telly veteran Samir Shah since taking over the post, blah, blah, blah. During the interview, the BBC chairman discusses several other proposals to replace the TV licence fee, including moving the BBC to a Netflix-style subscription, which Samir Shah says would not meet the BBC's key role to offer something for everyone in the country. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Because you just have everything new and everything good behind iPlayer. And you've got to pay a subscription for that. If you don't want to pay the subscription, They could do an ad-funded version of iPlayer where you get limited access to a certain amount of shows or whatever, but it's got ads in it. You could keep BBC One over here, get rid of all the other channels, but keep BBC One and just show repeats on that of the shows that were on iPlayer last week. Chock it full of ads. You can do it. You can still offer something for everybody. The reason the BBC don't want to do this is because then they're responsible for their own income and they will be dead within 5 years. Meanwhile, advertising on the BBC would kill off ITV, he adds. This is an argument that's going around. They keep saying this, that there's not enough, like the pie of advertising isn't big enough to support everybody. And if the BBC started showing adverts, why would you advertise with ITV then? Why would you advertise with Channel 4? I think they are smoking something quite strong. They need to ask themselves why anyone would want to advertise on the BBC. The reason they don't want to go advertising is because they know they will struggle to get advertisers like ITV get. Look at the primetime stuff on a Saturday night on ITV. The quality of the ads, it's all premium stuff. All the shows are sponsored. You honestly think that would happen at the BBC? What have they got that anyone would want to advertise in or sponsor? Not that much, really, is it? I mean, fair dues. BBC Studios do own UK TV Play, UK TV as a whole. Dave Gold and all of that. And they do have, I remember years ago, wasn't it? I don't know if they still do it today, when they had the repeats of Top Gear on there, and it was sponsored by Halfers. So those ads were provided by Channel 4. So they do have the ability to do it. And also, there's more money now going into advertising than in the history of mankind. There's enough to go around. There is enough to go around. Samir Shah excludes the possibility of a hybrid model, which I guess is what you'd call my plan, which sees the BBC provide some basic services like national news for free, while other offerings, including drama comedy series, are subject to a monthly subscription. Why? Why can't we do that? Why can't we do that? Finally, the BBC chairman dismissed the idea of funding the BBC entirely from general taxation, which would leave the BBC open to influence from the government of the day. It is currently general taxation. The money is collected by the government on a royal charter negotiated by the government, and the government distribute the funds to the BBC. The BBC today is government control. And you don't bite the hand that feeds you, do you? That's why the BBC don't get involved as much as some other news outlets, do they? Because you don't bite the hand that feeds you. They are currently leave the BBC open to influence from the government of the day. It's what happens today, Mr. Shah. And he knows this. He knows this. He's worked in government and he's worked for the BBC for years. He knows this. He just assumes that you and I don't know this. But we do as well. We see straight through it. That leaves the current BBC chairman favouring the idea of tweaking the current TV licence model to address one of its biggest complaints. It's a regressive tax. But he doesn't like the idea of funding the BBC from general taxation, but he accepts that people call it a regressive tax. Carry on. Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy has indicated she might be open to this suggestion, describing the current flat rate model as harder for poorer households to pay. So putting it on the council tax, would that help? Let's imagine a poor household, a single unemployed mother, mid to late 20s, 3 kids, 3-bed house, council provided or privately rented with us paying it. That will be in a fair council tax band. How much would they now be expected to pay when currently they can choose to pay nothing at all? This is a way to stop people avoiding paying the TV licence fee. That's all this is. Oh, here we go. Look, of course, evasion wouldn't be completely eliminated, as some households already avoid council tax payments. Yes, but you can't. It's not like the licence fee where you can just go, I don't like it. I don't want to use the local police. I don't want to use the local bin pickup, which picks up once every 7 or 8 fucking weeks at the minute. so I won't pay my council tax. It doesn't work like that with council tax, does it? So how are you going to avoid it? The biggest losers will be households that have previously opted out of paying for a TV licence, as they'd no longer be able to do so. And that's the whole reason for the reform of the licence fee. They're not trying to reform the licence fee to make it fairer for you and I or for people struggling. They're not. They don't care about us. All they want to do is stop people not paying the licence fee. And this is their best bet to do it. That's what they want to do. The only other way is to get it on your income tax, and that'd never get through. It'd never get through, would it? But this could, and then how are you going to avoid paying it? How are you going to avoid paying it? In Northern Ireland, the Isle of Man and the Channel Islands, where there is no council tax, sign me up. I've often fancied living on the Isle of Man, but I don't think it's that easy to do, is it? I'll look into that more, maybe for my retirement or something. But anyway, where there is no council tax, an alternative mechanism to charge TV viewers would need to be found. What do you mean, like the TV licence fee? Just leave it at that, maybe. And then the people who do want to use the service can pay for the service because that's fair. And people like myself who don't use the service don't have to pay for it, which is fair. Is it not? I don't like the way it's policed. I don't like the way they take people to court. I don't like any of that. But you have to say, if you use the service, you should pay for the service. If you don't use the service, you shouldn't have to pay for the service. A solution needs to be found before the current Royal Charter is due to be renewed in 2027. They haven't got the time. We're halfway through now. 2025. If you told the BBC tomorrow you've got to implement a subscription method, they go, we haven't got the time to do that. We've got to put all the systems in place. We've got to get advertising partners. 18 months ain't long enough to do it. 2 years ain't long enough to do it. We need 5. Or if you told them that do whatever you want to do, you're not getting any money from us anymore, they say, well, we need time to work on this. We need 5 years. And you know how slow the government works. So let's say they did implement this council tax system. How long is that going to take to implement? All the councils around the entire country have to get sorted out. The government has to get the rules buttoned down. They have to find a way to collect the money, get it to the BBC. That's not going to take 18 months, 2 years either, is it? It is now too late to do anything for the next charter, apart from tell the BBC to stand on their own 2 feet and stick a middle finger up to them, which ain't going to happen, is it? What's going to happen is they'll get a renewal on the licence fee for 5 years, maybe the 10 years, and then that will be their last one before something happens. But there's no way they're going to get anything done. You know how fast the government works. What if Lisa Nandy's out of her job next week, which could happen, and the new person comes in and doesn't agree with it? It all starts again from scratch, doesn't it? That was the problem we had with the last government, wasn't it? There isn't time now. It's going to get renewed again, and that's not the worst thing that could happen, is it? Because if, like me, you don't require the service, you don't have to pay for it. Oh, I've got to start reading. I don't read ahead, all right? I skim the first bit to see if it's something worth talking about, but I don't read ahead because I want to react to these the way you react to them when we first hear them, right? I should start reading ahead. Samir Shah has suggested lengthening the Royal Charter period between the current 10-year cycle to provide greater stability for the broadcaster after this latest upheaval. So that's setting it up to get this council tax thing through. They'll sign it up for 15 years, maybe 20 years, something ridiculous like that. And if the British people hate it, if the British people think it's the worst idea ever, nothing we can do about it. It's signed into law. There's a royal charter for it for 10, 15, 20 years. You're just going to have to pay the licence fee on your council tax until then. Soz, our hands are tied. That's what's happening here. We're being stitched up. That's what's happening, isn't it? All right, I can't read any more of that. It's wound me up a bit. There's nothing more that interesting in there, so never just check the comments at the bottom. This is on GB News, right? And I always put a link to the articles that I talk about down in the description box below. So if you want to go and have a look at this yourself, you can. I'm just skimming the comments now, see if there's any interesting thing in there. Where is he? Yet another authoritarian solution. The BBC is now irrelevant. We have a simple choice, simple funding of the TV licence. All companies should be forced to use only one funding system. Advertising revenue or subscription. I could do both, couldn't they, Peter? Let me know what you think about this. This is starting to sound like a massive stitch up to people like us who don't require the service and therefore don't pay for the service. Why, in this day and age, are we being forced to pay a broadcaster that we simply don't want or need? Why? Why are the BBC so special that they have to be put up on a pedestal and be protected? Well, we know why, because they're a government mouthpiece, obviously. But it doesn't make any sense in this day and age. Either stand on your own 2 feet or shut your doors. It's that simple, isn't it? But not to the BBC and not to the government. And I fail to understand why. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. And while you're down there leaving your comment, hit all the buttons and everything as well. Because if you do all that, hopefully I'll get to see you in another video again soon, won't I? Ta-da.